so in this video we're going to look at 7 older Iwama style sword practices that maybe not seen so frequently. Go through and explain how they're done and demonstrate them. Okay? This first practice is pretty much what turned into the first awase. So there's various ways of doing it. It was originally, I think, done up very close, striking to the head, then it moved to strike the head into the hands, and then striking to the wrist, and then sort of striking, so you're missing the wrist. So if you're looking at it from a sort of benefits, practice to benefit perspective, you really want to be doing a full strike, you don't want to be pulling a strike. So probably the most beneficial way of practicing this is just to strike to clear the wrist, and then anything else is just an adjustment. I think if you're training where you're constantly stopping a strike halfway through, it's probably not the best way of doing things. But I'll just show you striking to the head first, and then we'll strike to miss the wrist. So he basically raises, I follow up, and he strike to there. Striking to miss the wrist. And that's basically all there is to that one. Okay, so this is the second part of practice. It's a bit more involved. We'll just talk through it first. So I begin to raise, and I'm kind of initiating the move by giving him an opening. He thrusts under my hands here, okay? So as he thrusts under, I take this to here, into stoic posture. Now from here I can strike very quickly onto his wrist, so he's exposed himself here. So, but he needs to then just move back out of the way and cover this position. So as I start this strike, as he goes to cover it, I step forward and strike the head. So I'm starting the strike, holding back the posture, and then stepping. It's a little bit tricky. That's the most sort of coherent way of doing it. Okay, so this is the third awase. The way that he takes up for the intended strike can be different. You can do it like the Kumitachi Tachi, or you can do it for pure speed. It doesn't really matter as long as you know which one you're doing. So we just look at the intended strike initially. So he attacks, I move off the line. This is like the first awase, or the first practice we've done. Now he can either take this round to step in for this strike, or he can take it straight up, which is more like the Musubi than the Tachi, but is slightly slow. Whichever one you want to do, really, as long as you know which one you're doing and why you're doing it. As you see, it's a bit academic, and he doesn't really get to deliver it. So that's the third part of practice. Okay, so the fourth part of practice, it's a little bit trickier than it looks. We'll break it down. I like to do it so it sort of fits with the feel of the second Kumitachi thrust. So in this one, you could argue the attack wins, but there you go. So So I raise the sword, he covers, and what he wants to do is strike this away to open me for the thrust. Okay? And what happens is I thrust, he goes for it, drop under, step and thrust. Okay, so this is the fifth part of practice. The first part of it is similar to the second awase, and it's similar to the Musubi and the Tachi. So he strikes, I move to the left. He then takes the sword around in order to strike here. Okay. As he does that, I pick up on the movement, control his forearm. Okay. So you need to pick that up fairly quickly and control him, push him backwards. Okay, so this is the sixth part of practice. It's very similar to the Musubi and the Tachi. The way I'm going to show it, it's kind of slightly less blending, it's more controlling from the defending side. You can do it in a more blending way at the end if he steps back, but I prefer to have the feel of the finish. So this starts like the third awase. He goes for the strike. Yeah. Now it's important that he does actually go for the strike, not just lifts and sort of becomes a passive partner. So he lifts for the strike, he kind of gets an unpleasant jolting feeling in his body. I hold this here and I need to move out of the way so he doesn't strike. As soon as this sword moves and gives him clearance, he will strike. So I'm going to move so I'm clear, and when I take the sword out, I'm also going to take it across here so it will protect me. I could strike the head, but I choose to miss. I'm going to strike to miss the wrist. Now this is now like the fifth part of practice we've just done, with the exception he's got this leg forward. He then goes to take up, and I pick the wrist up and control as before. Okay, the seventh part of practice, this is kind of like an iribi. It's got two ways of finishing. One is kind of like a favourite of mine. So, just talking through. So, we're here, I basically open up. He just comes barreling in and I enter. Now what I want to do is flash that sword in front of him and take it away. So as he goes to cut, I go in and move. So I'm stepping here, okay. He just sees something flash in front of him and it doesn't stop him, but it slows his cut down. Here. Now, I've now got two options. They're pretty similar really. The first option is just to strike here. And that, if you haven't done this sort of move very much, this is a great move here. Hip move. So if you're less experienced, I'd recommend doing it like this, okay? Because this is a really nice training move. You've done it a few more times. Cut, and then you bring this leg back to here. That's where his head bounces on the floor and rolls into the corner. Okay, so that's the 7-part practices. So they're not seen quite so frequently nowadays. It's sort of a good practice for the key, Musubi and the Tachi, and we'll be doing a video of that later on for you. Okay, hope you enjoy this and learn something.